Mega Pokemon has changed the game. With Legends Z8 introducing over 30 new Mega Evolutions, we now have the fastest Pokemon in existence, the rarest shiny Pokemon in existence, and even the Pokemon with the hottest fire in existence, surpassing even Macargo's hotter than sun temperature of 18,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes, a new Pokemon that was just released has fire hotter than the sun. And in this video, I'm going to break down every single one of them with a fun fact. Here is one fact for every Mega Pokemon in Pokemon. Let's start with Venusaur. Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, there were rumors about mysterious Pokemon known as Pokegods, and one of them was an evolution of Venusaur called Sapisaur, and actually looks a lot like Mega Venusaur today. And it even had a fan-made Destiny mission that it had thick fat, which eventually became Mega Venusaur's actual ability. So either this is a mad coincidence, or maybe Game Freak was inspired by this old Pokegod legend that became a reality 20 years later. Charizard. Mega Charizard X was actually hinted at long before Mega Evolution was introduced, but unlike Mega Venusaur, was actually hinted by Game Freak themselves. Because in Pokemon Gold, its strategy states that when Charizard becomes furious, the flame on its tail burns with a whitish blue color, just like its Mega form. Charizard again. Mega Charizard Y has the most powerful fire-type attacks out of any fire Pokemon, since it has the highest base special attack set out of any fire-type Pokemon, with the next line being Primal Groudon, with 9 fewer points, and Mega Camerupt with 14 fewer points. And keep in mind, Mega Camerupt has fire that's hotter than the sun, so you can only imagine what Mega Charizard Y's fire is like. Blastoise. Mega Blastoise is the only Kanto starter Pokemon that doesn't reduce damage from the starter it's weak to. Like, for example, Mega Venusaur has thick fat, meaning its fire weakness is cancelled out. Mega Charizard X becomes a part Dragon type, which cancels out its weakness to water. And Mega Charizard Y has a Drought ability, which creates sunny weather that has all water type attacks, neutralizing the water weakness again. And well, Mega Blastoise gets the Mega Launcher ability, which is nothing to the grass typing. It fully became a steel type like it should have been. Beedrill. Mega Beedrill has the lowest special attack stat out of all poison type Pokemon, even lower than regular Beedrill and its pre-evolution Weedle. And even though those points were put into its attack stat, it's still considered the worst Mega Evolution of all time due to its poor type combination, limited move coverage, and the fact that it's just so fragile, having a 40 base defense. A literal gust of wind can knock out this Pokemon. It is just bad. Pidgeot. Mega Pidgeot's strategy states that it can fly for 2 weeks straight without resting, which means Mega Pokemon can stay in their Mega forms for that long too. That must be torturous for the ones that are in constant pain, like the ones you'll see coming up here soon, if they can even last that long. Clefable. Despite Mega Clefable gaining larger wings and the flying typing, it doesn't actually fly. According to his Dex entry, it controls gravity within a 32-foot radius around itself using the power of the moonlight. Alakazam. Regular Alakazam has an IQ of 5,000, and when it Mega Evolves, apparently its knowledge becomes so great that it can foresee its opponent's every move and see the course of their entire lifetime at a single glance. Yet, despite all of that, it can't learn the moves Foresight or Mind Reader. Okay. Victory Bell. The reason Mega Victory Bell has vines wrapped around its throat is because the volume of its acid has increased so much that it fills up all the way to its mouth. So basically just really bad acid reflux. So it has to be careful not to spill any of it when it moves around, kind of like a living drinking gourd. Slowbro. Since no actual change happens to Slowbro's body when it Mega Evolves, you're technically Mega Evolving the Shellder instead. So I guess that means Mega Shellder is confirmed and not actual Slowbro, which probably could explain why the Slowbro Knight doesn't work on Galarian Slowbro, because it has a shell on its arm, so it can't really eat it because Slowpoke's arm would just fall off. Gengar. Mega Gengar has a hidden mechanic where it's immune to the move Telekinesis, which lifts the target into the air for 3 turns to make it easier to hit. And with Mega Gengar, this is impossible because it is a shadow embedded into the ground, making only 1 of 5 Pokemon immune to this move, with Diglett, Dugtrio, Sandygast, and Palossand being the others. Kangaskhan. Mega Kangaskhan was so strong in competitive play that an entire strategy called Chalk was built around it, which stands for Cresselia, Heatran, Amoonguss, Landorus, and Kangaskhan. And 6 out of the top 8 teams in 2015 used this exact lineup, all because of his ability Parental Bond, which allowed Kangaskhan to hit twice with every attack, which means moves like Power Up Punch, Sucker Punch, Fake Out, and Earthquake could deal double damage and gives double stat boosts, even allowing it to break focus sashes and just overwhelm its opponents. It was just downright broken. Starmie. Since the original game, Starmie has been hinted at to be an alien from outer space, even theorized to be related to Deoxys in some way because of their gem. And its Mega form dives even deeper into that idea, with its Dex saying that it moves more like a human and is trying to communicate or blend in with humans itself. So yeah, this is an alien that's totally trying to just take over the world. Pinsir. Mega Pinsir's Dex says that it can lift an opponent 10 times heavier than itself and fly around with ease. And let's put that into perspective. Mega Pinsir weighs 130 pounds. Multiply that by 10 and it can carry anything up to 1,300 pounds and still fly with it. That is about the weight of Pokemon like Snorlax, Wailord, Regigigas, and even Primal Kyogre, an even bigger whale. Mega Pinsir is a beast. Gyarados. X. Mega Gyarados' design is based on the legendary water Pokemon Misty sees in her dream in the episode Enlighten Up, which was released 11 years before Pokemon X and Y came out, which is pretty cool to see because Misty did eventually get her dream Pokemon in the Sun and Moon series with the Mega Gyarados. Aerodactyl. Mega Aerodactyl's Dex entry implies that its Mega form is actually its original form. Its Sun entry states that some scholars claim that this is Aerodactyl's true appearance. Its Ultra Moon entry says that Mega Evolution brought back the sharp rocks that once covered its body. And its Let's Go entry explains that the power of Mega Evolution has completely restored its genes. So this is the original Aerodactyl from ancient times. It was just a base Mega Evolved Pokemon that just lasted forever. Dragonite. Mega Dragonite might be a glimpse of what Dragonite was really supposed to look like in the original games, since it keeps the wings on its head, grows larger gems on its neck and tail, and even its shiny colors match Dragonaire's colors. It just makes sense. But for me, I've always liked Dragonite's original design, so I don't care either way. Mewtwo. Mega Mewtwo X is said to have the grip strength of 1 ton. And to put that in perspective, that kind of power could crush solid steel pipes, bend metal tools, or pulverize boulders with its bare hands. That is roughly the same force as an industrial metal press. And on top of that, in Pokken Tournament, Mewtwo X is confirmed to be able to stretch his arms, making this Pokemon absolutely terrifying to battle against. He is basically a one-punch man, but with stretchy arms like Reed Richards. Not to mention there's a Shadow Mega Mewtwo X that's even stronger in Pokken Tournament. Mewtwo again. Blaine in the Adventures manga has the strongest bond with Mewtwo, since he used his own DNA to create it. And because of that, he is the perfect trainer to Mega Evolve it into Mega Mewtwo X and Y. And his bond with it is so strong that he can literally Mega Evolve Mewtwo into both forms in the same battle. He might actually have an even stronger bond than Ash and Greninja from the anime. Who would win, Ash Greninja or Blaine's Mega Mewtwo X and Y? Meganium. Mega Meganium essentially has a signature move, being its Solar Beam, because its message says that it's especially powerful and it's called Mega Soul Cannon, or basically Mega Sun Cannon. So yeah, Mega Meganium has a signature move, unlike any other Mega Pokemon. Feraligatr. Mega Feraligator's design is actually pretty clever. This is based on how alligators carry their young in their mouths, except here it is reversed, with Totodile-shaped jaws carrying Feraligatr. It can also be a reference to the French fashion brand Lacoste, which famously uses an alligator as its logo. And also surprise me if this is part of the reason why Totodile was picked as a starter for this game, since everyone in Legends EA is super fashionable, including this Ultra Ball head guy. Ampharos. Mega Ampharos being a dragon type actually makes perfect sense, because for one, Ampharos was originally intended to be an electric dragon type Pokemon before it was changed in the final release of Pokemon Gold and Silver. His Japanese name Dinryu is also a play on the words Dinryu and Dinryu, which means electric current and electric dragon. On top of that, the entire line is based on a Chinese dragon with a woolly mane and jewel-like orbs along a slender body. So it only makes sense that his Mega Evolution finally embraces that dragon typing with his fabulous hair. Steelix. Mega Steelix is probably the closest we'll ever get to seeing Crystal Onyx in the video games, because if we didn't get it in Scarlet and Violet, we'll probably never get it ever, because, you know, Terrestrialization, Crystal Onyx, it was just a perfect match in heaven. But yeah, Mega Steelix technically has crystals protruding from his body, so I guess we kind of do have a Crystal Onyx type Pokemon. Scizor. The Mega Energy inside Scizor's armor burns so hot that it can literally melt his body from the inside. And keep in mind, Scizor's one and only weakness is fire. I don't think this Pokemon could last 2 weeks like Mega Pidgeot can. It would just be a hollow husk of an armor. Heracross. Mega Heracross claws retract and basically turn into mini machine guns that let it fire pin missiles and bullet seeds, which explains why it gets a skill link ability, which increases the frequency of multi-strike attacks. And in Legends EA, it is especially good. Also, fun fact, Mega Heracross can lift 500 times its own weight, meaning it can lift any Pokemon, even the heaviest ones like Cosmoem and Celesteela, who are literally the max weight. What a beast. Skarmory. Mega Skarmory can fly faster than the speed of sound, which is about the same speed as a high-powered bullet. But it is not the first Pokemon capable of doing this, because regular Pidgeot can fly at Mach 2, which is twice the speed of sound. Dragonite can circle around the globe in just 16 hours, which is about Mach 2 speed as well. Golett can also fly faster than sound despite not being a flying type, and Mega Latios can reach Mach 4 times the speed of sound. So Mega Skarmory is impressive, but not that impressive. I'm sorry. Houndoom. Just like Scizor, the Mega Energy inside Mega Houndoom's body burns so hot that it's literally melting his own claws in the tip of his tail, which is why they glow red. And funny enough, all of that heat is for nothing, because Houndoom doesn't learn a single claw or tail-based move. Poor guy. Tyranitar. Mega Tyranitar was one of the hardest Mega Pokemon to obtain, since Mega Stone was only available in Pokemon X, while Pupitar was only available in Pokemon Y. So you needed both games to get it. Sceptile. Mega Sceptile can launch its pine tree tail like a rocket launcher, which is based on autonomy, the practice of animals shedding a body part as a defense, like lizards detaching their tail to escape. Blaziken. Mega Blaziken's design is actually based on the alpha sketch of Torchic, where it originally had longer ears, while still sitting inside a hatched egg, similar to Togepi. Swampert. There have only been a handful of orphan cards in the Pokemon trading card game, which are cards that become completely unplayable because their stage 1 Pokemon rotated out of the format, and Mega Swampert was one of them. It literally couldn't be played since regular Swampert EX was no longer legal. And here are all the other orphan cards if you are curious. Gardevoir. Mega Gardevoir is evil in the trading card game. Since in the Steam Siege expansion, every booster pack reads, dual powers clash. Long years of stability come to an end when shiny Mega Gardevoir EX lays siege to the Mighty Gear Palace with a host of greedy forces. So yeah, one of the very few canonically evil Pokemon in existence, just like Malamar from the anime. Sableye. Mega Sableye is the slowest Dark-type Pokemon. And to put that in perspective, Alolan Grimer is the second slowest. It is slower than a pile of muck. So I guess the gym is holding is very heavy. Also, fun fact, Mega Sableye's design is probably based on Sableye's beta design where it's peeking through a giant gym. Mawile. Mega Mawile technically has the highest attack stat of any Pokemon, with the ability Huge Power, since it doubles its attack. With an adamant nature and max EV and IV in its attack, it reaches 678 points in its attack, the highest possible in the entire series. And to put that into perspective, a non-stab Sucker Punch from Mega Mawile does more damage than a stab extreme speed from Arceus, at least a pre-nerf Sucker Punch did. Aggron. Mega Aggron ties with Mega Steelix and hilariously Shuckle for the highest defense stat of all Pokemon. But Mega Aggron probably has the edge thanks to its filter ability, which reduces the damage it takes from super effective attacks, making it one of the bulkiest Pokemon in existence. It's a literal tank. Medicham. The 4 white ribbons coming from Mega Medicham's back are actually his ghostly arms, which become more solid and usable the more it trains as spirits. Manectric. Mega Manectric never got an idle animation, so it just sits in this position forever. Look at it. It's just sitting there, all menacingly. Sharpedo. Mega Sharpedo literally has blades that pop out from its face when it attacks, and you can see them in its official artwork. This Pokemon is pretty crazy. Camerupt. The M on Mega Camerupt's forehead could stand for a lot of things. Mega, Magma, Team Magma, Maxi, Majin from Dragon Ball Z, or even Mountain. But it most likely represents the Roman numeral for 1000, symbolizing the extreme magnitudes of its power, like temperatures reaching into the thousands of degrees. This is even supported by regular Camerupt's design, which has zeros on its sides. Altaria. Mega Altaria is the only Mega Evolution that completely changes its typing from its base form, because Swablu starts as a normal flying type, but Mega Altaria becomes a Dragon Fairy type, completely different from Swablu. Every other Mega Evolution keeps at least one of its original typings. Banette. Mega Banette essentially has its own location for its Mega Stone in the Chamber of Emptiness. There's only 2 items can be found there: a spooky plate for Arceus and a Banette for Banette, randomly enough. Absol. People in the Pokemon world have misunderstood Absol as a bringer of doom because it often appears before catastrophic events. But in reality, it shows up to actually warn the people about the disaster that's about to happen. And its Mega Form supports this idea even more, as it gives off a guardian angel-like appearance with its angelic wings. Glalie. Mega Glalie probably has it the worst when it comes to torturous Mega Evolutions, because not only does it break its jaw, but it's also forced to constantly vomit snow, creating an endless blizzard that never stops. I don't know why a Pokemon would ever want to Mega Evolve after going through this torturous evolution. They must really love their trainer. Salamence. Mega Salamence is nicknamed the Blood-Soaked Crescent because it is known to turn on its own trainer. Its signature even says that anyone standing in its path will be sliced in 2 by its wings, which explains why they're said to be blood-soaked. This is probably the most gruesome Mega Pokemon of them all. It literally has visible blood on its wings. Metagross. Steven Stone owning a shiny Metagross has to be one of the most impressive feats in all of Pokemon, and I'm not even kidding, because to form a Metang, 2 Beldum have to fuse together, and to form a Metagross, 2 Metang have to fuse together as well. But to create a Mega Metagross, you need 1 Metagross, 1 Metang, and 2 more Beldum linking up, meaning Steven had to catch 8 shiny Beldum in total to get a shiny Mega Metagross. No wonder he's champion. This dude is committed. Latias. Mega Latias and Mega Latios look almost identical, but the way to tell them apart is by their eye color. Latias has yellow eyes that turn green when shiny, while Latios has red eyes. Latios. Mega Latios is the fastest Pokemon in existence, capable of reaching speeds up to Mach 4, which is around 3,000 miles per hour, 4 times the speed of sound. No other Pokemon has come close to that according to their Dex entries, with the next fastest being regular Pidgeot flying out Mach 2 speeds, and intelligence shooting water from his fingertips at Mach 3 speeds. Rayquaza. Mega Rayquaza is not only a powerhouse in the competitive scene, being the very first Pokemon ever banned from the Uber tier and creating a new tier in itself called Anything Goes, but it's also unimaginably strong in the lore of Pokemon, because in the Delta episode of the Hoenn remakes, it single-handedly destroyed a world-ending meteor that was nearly over 100 times its size. And not to mention that it was able to stop Groudon and Kyogre in their primal forms from fighting and ending the world too. This Pokemon is one of the most powerful in the entire series by far. Lopunny. One of Lopunny's abilities is Klutz, which prevents the user from using held items. So what happens if you have a Klutz Lopunny hold a Lopunnynite? Well, absolutely nothing. It will still Mega Evolve with it. So I guess a Klutz Lopunny isn't so Klutz after all. Garchomp. Mega Garchomp is actually worse than this regular form, since its reduction in speed makes it slower than many of the Pokemon it's used to outspeed, and its increased attack and special attack is pretty useless because it doesn't really need that extra power, since regular Garchomp already hits hard enough with items like Choice Scarf or Rocky Helmet. And along with that, its Mega ability Sandforce is just plain worse than its hidden ability Rough Skin, since it only powers up moves in a Sandstorm. Mega Garchomp is bad. Lucario. Mega Lucario's fighting style can be summed up in one word: heartless. It is said to strike enemies without mercy, which you can clearly see with Korea's Mega Lucario in the anime, when it completely loses its control. Just look at its eyes. Abomasnow. Wilford keeps his Abomasnow's Mega Stone inside a pendant on his necklace. And that's the fact, guys. Gallade. During the era of X and Y, there was a popular theory that Pokemon that evolved with a stone couldn't Mega Evolve. But Mega Gallade completely debunked that idea when it was revealed, making it the first Pokemon that technically needs 2 stones to reach its final form: a Dawn Stone and its Mega Stone. Frostlass. Mega Frost has a unique power that lets it freeze intangible things using its ghostly energy, like the flames of a fire or even wind itself. I wonder what else it can freeze. The internet? I didn't freeze, guys. That was just me. Emboar. Emboar getting a Mega Evolution makes perfect sense because it has always been known as a Mega Fire Pig Pokemon. Honestly, all the starter Pokemon are just making so much sense now. You have Meganium, the Mega Fire Pig Pokemon, and Mega Fraligator with its French origins as well. Audino. Even though Mega Audino was one of the worst Mega Pokemon when it was released, it was the best Pokemon in the trading card game at the time, since its attack, Magical Symphony, could hit both the active and bench Pokemon for a cheap cost, for only 3 colorless energy. It even won the 2016 World Championships, so yeah, it was the best. Scolipede. Mega Scolipede basically poisons itself when it Mega Evolves, as its own venom affects its mind and sharpens its viciousness. Also, Scolipede is literally known as a Megapede Pokemon, making it a great candidate for Mega Evolution. Now we just need Mega Forms for Golem, the Megaton Pokemon, Yanmega, and Stonjourner, the Megalith Pokemon. Escadrill. Mega Escadrill's destiny says that if it brings its arms and head together to form a streamlined shape and spins at high speeds, it can destroy anything. That destiny is almost the same as Tantrums, which it claims it was invincible during ancient times. Electros. Since there are no abilities in Legends ZA, Electros actually becomes weak to ground for the first time, since it no longer has the Levitate ability. But in games after Legends ZA, it's going to be an absolute powerhouse if it keeps Levitate, since it'll be a Mega Pokemon with 615 base stat total and literally no weaknesses. A beast. Whatever this thing is. Scrafty. Mega Scrafty's chest skin turning white is probably based on a leopard gecko, a lizard that sheds its skin all at once, make it look like it's wearing a hoodie or a jumpsuit. Chandelure. If you look closely at Mega Chandelure's eyes, one of them doesn't match the other. That is because, according to his dex entry, one of his eyes is said to be a window to the afterlife, which makes perfect sense because those burned by regular Chandelure's flames have their spirit consumed, leaving only their body behind. Chestnut. Mega Chestnut's design further leans into the theme of the Kalos starters being based on role-playing characters, with Chestnut as the knight, Delphox as a sorcerer, and Greninja as a thief, especially now that it's wielding a massive axe paired with a shield. Delphox. Mega Delphox is basically casting a fireball spell from Dungeons and Dragons when it Mega Evolves, since it's heavily based on a sorcerer. You could even take it a step further and say it's summoning a spiritual weapon that it controls completely at will, which is actually very common in Dungeons and Dragons. Greninja. Mega Greninja's base stat total is actually lower than Ash Greninja's. Ash Greninja has a higher attack and special attack, while Mega Greninja has better defense, special defense, and speed. And because of that, Mega Greninja becomes the fastest water-type Pokemon, beating Ash Greninja by a whopping 10 points. Pyroar. Mega Pyroar is now officially the Pokemon with the hottest fire in existence, beating even Cargo and Cameron's temperature of 18,000 degrees Fahrenheit, since according to its dex entries, its fire spews hotter than 18,000 degrees, which, keep in mind, is hotter than the literal sun. Floette. Mega Floette itself is actually unaffected by a Mega Evolution, since all the Mega Energy is absorbed by the Eternal Flower instead, which begins attacking and lashing at enemies on its own will. And according to past Dex entries, the Eternal Flower holds terrifying power. It makes you think where this ominous flower comes from. I wonder if it's sentient like Slowbro's shell. Malamar. Regular Malamar's Dex entry says it has the most compelling hypnotic powers of any Pokemon, and with its new Mega form, that power is taken even further. Its Mega form can literally overwrite the personalities and memories of others to control them entirely, which explains the whole My Friend Malamar campaign leading up to its reveal, where all Pokemon social media accounts were taken over by Mega Malamar. I can't help but wonder if the NPCs with weird dialogue in Legends EA are actually hypnotized by a Mega Malamar. Is Mega Malamar the true secret villain of Legends EA? I don't know, I gotta complete the game. Barbaracle. Mega Barbaracle's head hand is shaped like the sign of the Hoenn's hand gesture, which is often used for heavy metal to mean rock on, which is probably a pun on his rock typing. Dragalge. Mega Dragalge may have the most potent poison of any Pokemon, since it is said to have toxins that are so deadly that it can poison anything but itself, which might even include steel and other poison type Pokemon. So maybe we'll get the corrosion ability like Salazzle in later games. Hawlucha. Mega Hawlucha is not only wearing a Luchador mask, but also a falconry mask, which are used to keep falcons calm by covering their eyes until it's time to strike, which could explain why Mega Hawlucha has become more confident in his Mega form. Zygarde. Mega Zygarde now has the highest special attack of any Pokemon at 216, beating even Mega Mewtwo Y by 12 points. It also holds a record for the largest single stat increase of any Mega Evolution, gaining a whopping 125 points more than complete form Zygarde. But despite all of that, it is still outclassed by Mega Rayquaza by just 2 points in its total base stats. So Mega Rayquaza again just proves how powerful this Pokemon is. Deoncé. In the Hoenn Remake's Mega Evolution trailer, Mega Deoncé is seen creating a sword made of diamonds, but that's the only time we ever see it do this in any kind of form of media ever. Not in the games, anime, manga. It never does this again. And fun fact, Mega Deoncé is probably the most expensive Pokemon in existence, since it's made of diamonds, can instantly create diamonds like diamond swords, and the gem on his forehead is said to be a whopping 2,000 carats according to his new Dex entry. Drampa. Mega Drampa actually becomes more youthful upon his Mega Evolution, as you can see by his white hair turning black. Its category even changes too, from the placid Pokemon to the imposing Pokemon, making only 1 of 2 Mega Evolutions change its category, with the other being Feraligatr, which goes from the Big Jaw Pokemon to the Double Jaw Pokemon. And finally, we have Phalanx. It is said that Mega Phalanx can only achieve this form through strong bonds with other Phalanx that are brave enough and strong enough. So it's not just about having a bond with his trainer, it also needs to have a powerful bond with its own troopers too. And there you go. That is one fact for every Mega Pokemon that we know of right now. But now, we should watch my one fact for every original Pokemon right here.